can't figure out why they made me like this. Seems the hard way to be a gnome. Why make me the hard way? Let's talk about that.
Not talking about the gnome being hard to make.
So what are we talking about?
How headphones are made?
Oh, the hard way.
Well, specifically our headphones.
Yeah.
Gnome headphones?
Well,
Oh, yeah?
We could make a headphone for a gnome, but
Yeah.
he's pretty good. He's got some spring to him. He's obviously earthquake proof.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, yeah, the question the question posed would be, how come we got to make things the hard way all the time? And that's a good question because it seems like everything we do is difficult to do.
This isn't something we really discreetly talked about, and I suppose it has some merit. From a consumer perspective, you kind of miss out on a few things. You don't really necessarily know why manufacturer does a thing a certain way, and you don't really necessarily know the pros and the cons of doing it that way. But for us, we seem to have a very different approach from traditional manufacturers. We're, I guess you would say, not in it to make a headphone necessarily. And now that's a tricky one, right? We'll talk about this.
Could be tricky. Someone
So-
could twist those words.
Traditional headphone manufacturers seemingly are in the market to make a headphone, and they're trying to make a good headphone. And by that, I mean they're trying to make a product that you find compelling enough to purchase, and they're trying to make a profit on it. Right? I think that's no secret to most people. However, we're not really following that approach per se. We're trying to make a product that is exceptionally compelling and pretty much as good as it can be. And what we happen to be settled on happens to be a headphone, but it's not really the headphone that's the important thing. It's more like the total cumulative experience that we find important, right?
I guess it's one way to look at it.
It's about making a product that is exceptional, not just a good headphone, but a product that when you receive it as a consumer, it performs better than anything else.
We need to put that in the About Us part of our website because that's a pretty good description. 'Cause I think what we have now is kind of stale compared to what you just said. But it's true. That's how we think of, that's when you look at how, we don't think about it much because we just do it. But I guess if you looked at us from the outside, that's kind of how we're approaching these challenges. Is we're not too concerned with any type of norm. Don't care what the norm is.
We're not doing market research to figure out what's the most profitable means to make a headphone or something like that. What we could do to maximize returns. That is, I think to anyone in the know, very obviously not what we're doing.
Yeah, like a lot of people say, oh, why don't you just make a $100 BIS headphone? Well,
Right.
That's not really what we do here. You know, that's not what we do here. There's plenty of people doing that, right?
We
no
kinda
issue
can't.
there. Yeah, no, it's not the way we think,
Right.
you know?
Well, I think we get in like a bubble, and then like you're only working on one thing, right? So all you're worried about is like currently we're working on Diana TC. So it's like all you're paying attention to is Diana TC. You're not listening to anything else. You're not comparing it to other things. You know, it's just focused on making that the best you can.
Optimizing that design. Yeah. Best we can.
Yeah.
Subjectively, objectively, etc. And and it ultimately winds up being as good as it can be, given all the parameters we set for ourselves, right? With that
It's a
particular
very
product.
boutique approach compared to, well, I guess actually a lot of people complain about how we say that. Boutique? I don't know. I'm confused.
Boo.
Last time there was like 5 people that were
I
yelling
like
and we say
boutique,
it
but
wrong.
boo.
Boutique?
Yeah, technically it's boo. But then again,
But
creek
whatever.
and crick are the same word, but
Close enough.
yeah,
It's a word. I said it.
yeah,
Anyways,
yeah, boutique. Boo.
we try to find an approach that manufactures a product that people find to be exceptional. It's not about making a headphone that's profitable or making a headphone that fills a gap in a market. And I think this is more profound than people recognize, because at least speaking for myself, I'm not driven to make a headphone that's average or slightly better than a competitor. You'd see this a lot on the market. It seems like people are kind of sort of in a bit of a competition to make something slightly better than the competitor.
Well, in some ways.
And the reasoning for that is they're only trying to make it better enough that you buy theirs and not the other one, but not good enough that they have no room for improvement, or that you don't feel you need to improve it.
Because unlike us, where we'll just completely go nuts on a design till we feel it's done. Most companies just don't take it that far.
Well, there's a thing that I've been doing lately. Like when we finally finalized Diana TC.
Yeah. Like
so everything. I just didn't listen to anything, no headphones, for a week, and then came back. And if you're not surprised at how good it sounds,
right.
then you didn't
do good. Probably going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, right.
It's a good litmus test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is impressive.
Yeah. The thing is, like, normally when you see lower cost products, they're made to that price point, right? We've talked about this before. It's more about volume. Their whole goal is to sell as many pieces as possible. So it's, and therefore obviously you would hopefully increase profits. Now some companies sell more pieces and they can't make enough, so therefore now they have another issue. They're not really, or they need to hire so much labor to continue to increase the volume that you never really gain a appreciable amount of profit. Anyway, this is all business stuff, and it doesn't really matter as much as what we're talking about with the design. And overall, though, is that I think the way to look at it is we're not trying to work on a model saying, oh, we're going to sell 1 million of these. We know that's not going to happen. It's already a given. All right, so given that, it's like, all right, so what we're looking at, we come at it from a totally different angle. We're saying we're just going to make whatever this takes. We're going to make the best product we can out of it, and let the chips fall where they may in terms of pricing. It is what it is when we're done, and that's the way we look at it.
Well, you would have to do a lot of things different if you wanted to go high volume. You couldn't design it the same because it would need to be actually designed for manufacturability, which we're not doing.
Yeah,
ease
of assembly, ease of manufacturing.
A lot of things would have to change.
Yeah. This is we seem to pick the most difficult paths on everything we do, and it's not that we do that on purpose or we're trying to do it that way. It just tends to wind up giving us the best results. It gets us toward the goals we're after.
Well, sometimes things are a bit interesting to do it a certain way, and so we do it a way that I find to be unique or interesting. But generally speaking, we're not intentionally seeking to make it difficult. The goal is to make it as easy to put together as possible and as affordable as practical. But if there's a way to do it that is better and it costs a little bit more, we're not scared to do it. And the reality is intrinsic in the design. If you're doing something at a low cost or high volume, you really can't do complicated things. It requires too much labor. There's too much uncertainty. There's too much difficulty in mass production to do a lot of things that we do.
Yeah, you have aiming for a price point, you have a hard ceiling at how much you can spend on each unit, how much cost it makes. Hard ceiling. And it's almost always an engineering challenge to keep below that and maximize. It's almost I would say it's just as challenging to do that probably as it is to do something crazy, where you're just opening up the floodgates as to ideas and saying, well, let's try this and see how it works and go with it. It's probably just as expensive either way. However, the difference is that in the end, you're dealing with, to make it less expensive, you're really just looking at the cost of materials. It's a bill of goods and labor, where we're like, well, okay, that doesn't matter. If we need to use titanium for this part, we use titanium, right? If we need to use the highest level grade of stainless, we use that. And if it works, if it tries to get us to attain our goal. And so, and you can't, those are the two different realities of mass production and volume versus boutique products where you're after something that doesn't exist anywhere else.
Well, I know. Actually, it is a lot harder to design for low cost, usually. Because I know Bosch specifically, they had tried to make a sensor cheaper for an Indian car manufacturer. They couldn't do it. Yeah. So they actually started a separate division in India of Bosch. And they actually figured out how to make it cheaper in India. The Indian engineers better than the German engineers to make it, because they were used to designing things for cost. Yeah.
And I guess that's really what it boils down to. It's a style of designing or thinking that, it's just like Apple products tend to have a certain style to them that follows through the various lines, and any successful company has a certain style to him, I guess you could say. And, you know, it's got to be tough. I mean, you could see where, like, particularly, like, I could imagine, like, designing a car. It's so complex because you have so many features on a car in terms of the looks, the exterior, the interior, every knob, and, you know, nook and cranny, the stitching on the dash, if you got such a thing, you know. You think about all the details. How many thousands of people must integrate to make that a product? That's crazy, you know, and have it look coherent.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look like Jimmy designed a shifter and Jack designed a dash, you know.
It is a
wow.
huge challenge, and the consumer wouldn't be aware, but it's extremely difficult typically to design a cohesive, easy to manufacture, in high volume, low cost goods that are actually exceptional. Usually you are required to do certain manufacturing methods because you just can't afford to do it another way, or there's nobody in the world that has the capabilities to manufacture it some exotic way for you,
look at like
irrespective of cost.
Like the Bugattis you look at, and it's like the cool shit they do. That's kind of what it reminds me of, to a car side, right?
Bugatti, that's pretty high volume, relatively speaking. I
Yeah.
was thinking more like Koenigsegg,
Even
where you
that,
make like
yeah.
7 a year. you
Yeah.
know?
You
I
know,
mean,
like
they're
Renaults
not
or
they're not
something.
worried about using exotic
I mean,
materials.
everything's
and
like
everything.
carbon fiber. It's all everything's custom. There's
Yeah.
probably nothing stock on the whole car.
But you can do that
know?
if you're making half a car a month.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, right. But it's crazy though when you think about the detail and you look at the detail. It's that's to me that's what I appreciate about those cars. It's not necessarily just the speed, you know, or the performance or even the looks of it, but it's the beauty of all the workmanship that went into it. You know, right down to like they put like a badge or something for the engine and the right compartment. They got like a machined aluminum or something plate that goes for every car. With I don't know. I just remember looking at these. The subtle details that exist in there you can't get in a Chevy or a Ford or a Beamer or Mercedes. It doesn't exist. Now,
Well,
of
you
course,
can't.
yeah, the price point's completely 10. I don't know how many times 100-fold could
Well, I
be.
guess the closest would be like AMG with their one man, one engine thing, where one guy builds the engine for the AMG cars. But that's about as boutique as you get in the mainstream.
Yeah, but I mean that's I think what sets apart those products from everything is just the attention to detail is stunning, and that's kind of what we do here on a much smaller scale, much less parts count. You know, every little facet of every detail of it is just has a reason to be, and what's I think what separates our Abyss line in general from a majority of them. And not to say that other people don't look at detail either. You know, some headphones have some nice looking details to them too. There are some, but it is the exception for the most part in this market. You know,
There's some interesting products for sure, but really what we're seeking is, I guess, effectively to manufacture an exotic product at an attainable price point. So as far as headphones go, it happens to be expensive. Absolutely. It's not $50, but it is for a lot of people comparatively attainable. You know, you look at the comparison to $1 million hypercars. That's so far out for almost 100% of the population, right?
Yeah, right.
It's crazy. But a few $1,000s, well, expensive, but maybe you can make it work. And it depends on what you're looking for. But I think it's almost a little interesting to have that barrier to entry there, because then it kind of says to the designer, the manufacturer, that this person really wanted this product. They really like it. So if you're able to design a product that's compelling enough that somebody's willing to shell out that kind of money for, you hope they really love it. You hope that they find as much use out of it, utility as you
and
can.
we found that to be the case. I mean, we've proven that the market exists, as have others, and you know, hell, I think we were, other than Stax, we were the first company to have this price range. Actually, Stax had that for years with the one model, and that was the only thing in the near $5,000 US category. And we came out with the 1266, and a good year of it, we heard about pricing from people. You can't do that. And
Yeah.
Yes, we can. And you know, and now look at the marketplace. It's just flooded with similarly priced product. Not flooded, but I mean, there's a lot of product out there. I mean, now you got $3,000 players and $5,000 headphones to choose from, where none of that existed.
Well, I think the most of that was really just because of the market maturity. It was because it was possible. People saw that it was a sound economic decision to invest in manufacturing very high-end headphones. But it's not like we did it. But maybe it was a kickstart. But yeah, the entire system maturing and the accessories showing up and more people finding interest in it really is what's been driving these higher dollars. But it still is rather interesting to see people put so much effort into making really compelling products. And I always thought that was cool.
Me too.
Really unique, special stuff that people cherish. To me, that's more exciting.
That's
than
the thing, people.
Stuff.
You look at it like Sony did a gold portable player, gold-plated portable player, right? Solid copper billet, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who does that? I mean, that's the kind of thinking that's going on in the industry, which just makes these pieces unique, and it just goes on and on. I mean, A&K did that, similar things too, and great, nice, beautiful finishes on these products, and nice-looking screens. I mean, stuff you would never expect to see in audio.
Well, that is an interesting example, though, because it was significantly more expensive than the aluminum version of that Sony player.
Right.
But at shows, everybody had the copper one.
Right.
I didn't see anybody have an aluminum one.
Right.
So I guess
they sounded basically the same. That's the
very
thing,
similar.
right?
Yeah.
3 times the price or something like that.
Well, technically, the copper was a little smoother.
Yeah.
It's
we
smidgen
won't
better,
go there.
but it was 3 times the price.
Yeah.
So you would think people would just go, "Oh, I'll just get the aluminum one." They didn't.
Yeah.
They got the gold-plated copper one. Everyone wanted the gold-plated copper.
Yeah.
Even though it's really irrational.
I think it was a 3-to-1 price ratio. I think it was like
Yeah.
$1,200 for one versus $3,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
Or more. Yeah.
I recommended people to get the aluminum one. Said, hey, if you like this one, the aluminum one's basically the same thing, a little less storage, a third the price, but everyone bought the copper.
It shows to Goya that appearances do matter, and and finishes too.
Well, and that weight, you can't get around the weight.
Well,
of
that's
that
the
copper.
thing, I mean, we had it at trade shows a number of years, and people just look at it and go, wow, this is cool. I mean, I want one of these. This is gold. Yeah,
Yeah, there's
this is
no
gold.
rational reason for it.
Yeah, no, right. Other than you want it.
Right.
Yeah, and that's good enough. Sometimes that's all it takes to pull your wallet out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good enough. And that's why we do what we do too, because people want unique. I do. I know I look for that when I go shopping. I like to find things that, you don't find at Walmart all day long. It'd be cool. It's cool to find. It's hard to find high quality, unique products in any category.
Yeah.
It's hard.
So many things are just knockoffs of a knockoff. And you may not even recognize it, but a lot of times designs are more or less the same for huge periods of time. And so one person came up with a design and everyone else just more or less cloned it or manipulated it in some way. Yeah. And so over time, you basically get 100 iterations of a very, very similar design. And they may look the same, but a lot of times these low-cost consumer goods are made by totally different companies. Yeah. They just happen to look the same. Everybody more or less narrowed down on the same style and design. People think these things are made in one big factory somewhere. No, oftentimes 100 different factories making basically the same product, but that's what consumers are buying, and it kind of causes issues because then if you're looking for exotic, special, unique, it's hard to find because for the most part what you get is average and acceptable. It serves the task well enough that it's all you get, and I really actively seek unique, exciting, interesting, novel ways to do things.
It's kind of like back in the day, they used to have all the women's purses. They used to have all these knockoff purses coming in from primarily probably China.
Still do.
Yeah, the lookalikes. Well, that's been nipped in the butt
Yeah,
tremendously. There's a lot of clamping down going on in imports and stuff like that in the U.S. The stuff doesn't make it across the border anymore. There's protections in place.
Well, same thing with watches, all that.
Right. Yeah, a lot of that's really been nipped in the butt. And it's understandable. You've got these high-end brands, and they're made to a very high level of quality that the consumer expects at that price. And you got ones that kind of look like that, but have, you're lucky if it keeps time for a month or two before it fails.
The minute hand falls off
from a
after
distance. From a distance it looks similar, but it ain't nothing like it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of BS, and it's more of a novelty than anything. But yeah, it gets to a point where you got hundreds of thousands of those floating around. The novelty isn't so funny anymore. It's like, how do you differentiate? So
it's actually a big issue.
Yeah.
Because I find this all the time. Whenever you're looking for cheap goods, especially on like Amazon or something like that, where you're not physically interfacing with the product, it is very difficult to understand what's the difference between these products. They may look identical, but I've seen plenty of times where they're not. They're made different. They perform differently.
Yeah.
You may have 3 products that look like they're the same thing. They perform differently. They're made differently
It's
internally.
extremely rare to see a copy that's as good as the original.
Yeah.
Extremely rare, and that's the reason it's a copy, right? Is because whoever copied it thought it was a good idea. It was selling real well. Hey, we could do that too for
Right.
cheaper, right?
But how it always goes is when someone copies something, they don't know why
Right.
it's made the way it is.
They only copied the
so
look.
they copy the look, the style, the
Yeah.
design, but the performance, well,
There's no thought process. in
not
it.
always.
Yeah,
Well, the
it's
biggest one, SD cards, because you could get one that looks the same.
It's the same piece,
They're all
yeah.
they have the same labeling and everything,
Yeah.
and you get them from Amazon too, and they could be fake.
Yeah.
You know,
There's a lot like that, right? And it's a difficult thing. So I think one good way to more or less certify that this is the authentic, this is a different, unique product, is to make it totally different. Because occasionally you find something on Amazon or whatever, it's manufactured totally radically differently, and oftentimes it's for the better. Oftentimes that 1 in 10 product that's made in a totally different way does outperform the other ones, but it is really hard to know.
kind of like this gnome here that's sitting on a spring.
he's a high performance. Now.
He's designed for, like, the earth could move and he's still going to stand up pretty much, or for
It's just like
whatever.
that.
Yeah, he's vibration resistant.
Hmm.
He'd be good with a pair of 1266s on his head.
A little pair.
Yeah, a little mini pair.
A
He'd
little
be good.
gnome pair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
we do that.
I agree. I would be really good with that.
Is that the same voice? I don't think so.
I agree. I'd be really good with the 1266. Make me a pair.
On that note,
Okay.
we should probably get moving.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for watching. Subscribe to our channel because we got plenty more coming for the holidays. And keep in mind, we could always use some ideas. So if you have anything you want us to talk about, TOTL@abyssheadphones.com. Just email us, TOTL@abyssheadphones.com. Take care.
Yeah, gnome voice.
You want me to do a gnome voice? So you want me to pretend I'm him? I'm so excited about today's topic. We need a voice from him. It should be deeper. I'm thinking we could talk about
No,
it.
why so quiet?
That's
now?
terrible. No, do your gnome voice.
I don't think. All right.
Hey,
I'm walking here.
All right. So, well, what voice sounds best in the head?
The last one is
more
pretty
like
good.
this.
Should I talk light?
No, do the last one.
Or should I go really close up and talk about
But why
my
does it get
God.
quieter when it gets
it?
lower?
Like this?
So what's the topic? Maybe we should do that first with him. Why built it? So I'm him.
Yeah.
You know?
Do the gnome voice.
I can't do it. Okay, the gnome. I'm the gnome. Be the gnome.
I'm better.
Be the gnome.
Oh, you need some
All right.
method acting.
Yeah. I'm crying.
Yeah.
Gnome.
Very visibly shake him like that. It's good.
I know. This place is bouncy. Oh, it's good they gave me a spring.
I'm made of really good materials.
What? It's got like a swizzle. Is it hot in here?
This is gonna be difficult. I don't know if I should be here for this.
Oh my god.